Hey guys, what is up? It is Mass here, and welcome back to another video. So as you guys see by the title and the thumbnail, it is who is the number one overall pick in this year's 2018 NBA draft. Now this draft class is very, very stacked. And at this current time, I believe the Phoenix Suns are the worst team in the NBA. So if the lottery goes their way, they will get the number one pick. Now the highlights you're seeing on screen right now is DeAndre Ayton, center out of the University of Arizona. He had a great rookie year. And he declared for the draft after they lost in the first round of the tournament. Who they lose to? Buffalo? I don't remember. Anyway, DeAndre Ayton, he is a very dominant player. He's very dominant. I think Shaq said he's the most dominant college player since himself. And he's pretty dominant. You can see the highlights on the screen. And Phoenix would definitely do good taking him here. They have Dragan Bender, who they thought was going to be like the next kind of Porzingis player, which I do not believe. Nothing against Dragan Bender, but, and they have Tyson Chandler, so Tyson Chandler's probably going to get cut. Alex Len will probably get cut too. And now they can have a dominant center who can control the paint for them. I know he'll only be a rookie, but him and Devin Booker would be such a great 1-2 punch that it would be ridiculous. He can post up very well. He rebounds very well. He's a pretty good defender, as you see on the highlights on the screen. I don't know what's going on the screen. But he's very dominant. He's a great player. And I believe this would be the ideal pick for them. Him or Marvin Bagley, which we will get to talking about when it is Bagley's portion. But, I believe that DeAndre Ayton is really dominant. I keep reemphasizing the same point. It's because he is dominant. And just look at the highlights on your screen right now. This dude's a beast. He's grabbing rebounds, posting up, dunking. I don't know what else to say. But he's just a very dominant player, and I believe this is the ideal pick for them because they don't really have a true big man. They never really did have a true big man. I mean, Amari Stoudemire back in the day, Charles Barkley back in the day, but this would be a dominant big man for them to have, and I definitely feel like he would benefit the team. Him, Booker, I always forget Josh Jackson's on that team. Josh Jackson and DeAndre Ayton would be a great defensive presence, definitely. And Ayton could grab misses and kick it back out to Booker again. But, this would be very good for them. And if Josh Jackson would develop a little better, then, they're in some good shape. And that is my reasoning to why they should draft DeAndre Ayton. And I do believe that they will take DeAndre Ayton number one. And if they don't, whoever's number two, which could possibly be Memphis because they are a very bad team too, could take Ayton and get rid of Marc Gasol. I think Marc Gasol is a free agent, so DeAndre Ayton would benefit, wherever he goes. He's a dominant player, and he would definitely benefit whatever team that he goes to. Next up, our second candidate, the very dominant freshman from Duke, Marvin Bagley III. He also had a great year. In his last college game, I believe he posted 20 and 20. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. Duke just got eliminated by Kansas not that long ago. And Bagley was pretty good. He's been pretty good all year. I'm not a Duke fan in any way. I don't like Duke. But, Duke produces some great prospects. And Mr. Bagley over here, he's very dominant just like DeAndre Ayton. DeAndre Ayton is bigger and, huskier. So, Bagley would hit the weight room a little bit, but he would still fend very well for himself in the NBA. He would be a power forward, so he'd be going up against the lines of guys like Anthony Davis and Kristaps Porzingis, and I think he would fend well for himself. He could do what Anthony Davis mainly does. I'm not saying in any way he's compared to Anthony Davis, but he plays kind of like Anthony Davis. He could shoot the ball a little bit, but he attacks the rim. He grabs rebounds. He gets a lot of blocks, too. I've watched a little bit of him playing. And he's pretty good on the defensive end and the offensive end. So, I don't know who will get the number one pick because it all depends on the lottery. But this guy is a shoo-in. He will be a great asset to your team. Again, Phoenix never really had a big man, so this would help them out tremendously. They have, Marquise Chris. So, Bagley would be an upgrade. No disrespect to Marquise Chris at all, but Bagley would be an upgrade. Definitely at that position. And, they would do pretty well with him. I feel like the ideal pick, if Phoenix ends up with number one, like I said, would be Ayton or Bagley. But, Bagley is just a one-of-a-kind player, kind of like Ayton. I slightly feel like these two should be 1 and 2. this is all barring, who gets the picks and stuff like that and what happens in free agency. Like I said, Memphis could take Ayton if Marc Gasol decides to walk, but you never really know what's going to happen. So Marvin Bagley, very dominant player from Duke. It's kind of a tie-up between him and DeAndre Ayton. I don't know who I would pick number one. Like I said, it all depends on your team, who fits where better. Like, I feel like if Memphis got the number one pick and wanted to keep Marc Gasol, and he did choose to stay, then Bagley would be the ideal pick, considering the fact that they could use him at power forward. That would be a crazy front court. That'd be insane. That would be a great defensive, power forward and center. So, it all depends on where these two guys fit, but I feel like they are definitely the ideal picks. But like I said, it all depends on the lottery. But Bagley is a dominant player, and you really couldn't go wrong if you draft him. Next up, we got the shooting guard from Slovenia. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but Luka Doncic, a guy that plays EuroLeague ball. You might not heard a lot about him, mainly because he does play EuroLeague ball, but I am certain that he will enter the draft. And I've seen him number one on a lot of mock drafts to Phoenix, and I don't think he should go to Phoenix because Phoenix has Devin Booker. We all know this. Now, I feel like he could go to Memphis, like I said, if they do end up picking, retaining Marc Gasol. But some teams we haven't talked about yet that could get the number one pick are teams like Dallas. I don't think Cleveland will get it because they have it from Brooklyn, and Brooklyn isn't terrible this year. But Cleveland could get it, but we're not going to talk about that. And Atlanta. Atlanta, Dallas, and Memphis don't really have a sense of that shooting guard. And I feel like in Memphis you could team him up with Mike Conley and Marc Gasol, because who's the starting shooting guard right now for Memphis? Is it Tyreke Evans? It might be. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they don't really have a sense of a true shooting guard. So if they end up with the number one pick and they want a scorer, because this guy can score the basketball. He's a sniper. He's a sniper. They could definitely take him. He would go well with Dennis Smith because they're young. They could team up together and be the next kind of 1-2 punch in the NBA, because Dennis Smith's young and Dallas is just in a rebuilding state, obviously. Another team that could use him, Chicago could end up with the number one pick, but they have Zach LaVine, so I don't think they would really be fond of taking Luka Doncic. Phoenix could run him at the point guard position, but I don't think that would be right because he's a shooter. He's kind of like Devin Booker, and they could take that on their team again, but I really don't think they need that, so I don't think that's an ideal pick for them if they end up with the number one. But any other team, like I said, Dallas, Atlanta, Memphis, they could end up with Luka, who is a shooter and a EuroLeague guy. I know sometimes drafting foreign players is a bit of a touchy subject, but this guy, he's the real deal, and he's a beast. I truly believe that he is a beast. He's a sniper. You can see the highlights on the screen. This dude, he's a sharpshooter, I'll tell you that. And teams with no true sense of a shooting guard, I don't even know who starts at the shooting guard position for Atlanta. So this could be a nice pickup for them. They got young guys like John Collins, Taurean Prince. They got rid of Marco, so I'm not sure who their starting shooting guard really is. But Luka could fit in very well. He would thrive through Schroeder. Schroeder's a pretty good point guard. Another team I could see him going to, but they're not going to get the number one pick, maybe the Hornets, I would see. Him and Kemba, that'd be nice if Kemba doesn't get traded this offseason. Which they could trade up and get Trae Young, which is a possibility. But, Luka would go very well on some of these lottery teams. So if a certain team ends up with the number one pick, I could definitely see them picking up the sniper, the sharpshooter, Luka Doncic. Next up, we got Michael Porter Jr., the small forward from Mizzou. And Porter Jr., his draft stock definitely decreased due to the injury, and I feel like a lot of people forgot about him because he didn't play that many games back from the injury, and they got bounced first round in the tournament by Florida State. So he didn't really get a chance to shine this year, but I definitely feel like him entering the draft was the best move for his future, and he still has the potential to be the number one pick. Like I said, this all goes into place who gets number one. I feel like he would thrive very well in a place like Dallas, like I said, with Dennis Smith Jr. But I think Michael Porter Jr., it's a downfall because he's going to fall in the draft due to that injury. He did have some good games. You could see this guy is a beast. He's the truth. I wish the Sixers would be able to get him, but I know they can't. But if he falls, then sure. But this isn't what we're talking about. He has the potential to be the #1 pick, and he's a beast. He can attack the basket. He can shoot. He can do it all. He's a dominant player. I keep going back to the point of a dominant player, but he can definitely do it. He's a beast. I truly believe he could be the #1 pick. And if he played all year and wasn't injured, he went to Mizzou to try and get Mizzou back on the map. And if he played all year, he definitely would have got Mizzou back on the map because he would have been one of the top 3 players, being him, Ayton, and Marvin Bagley. These guys are just beasts. And he could have been the #1 player, and he still could be the #1 pick. It kind of all just depends on who gets that pick. Like, Atlanta would be a nice place for him. Memphis. Yeah, I could see him going to Phoenix. Dallas, like I said. New York. But New York kind of wants Trae Young, which we'll get into the next topic. But, you know, any team he goes to is going to be very good. But like I said, I don't believe he will be the #1 pick because that injury really did hurt him. But, you know, like I said, it all depends on where the pieces fall together. And he could be the #1 pick. It just depends who ends up taking him. But this guy's the truth. He's a beast. He's just a dominant player, like I've been saying. And, you know, without that injury, he could have been the #1 pick. But really, I don't know. Tell me in the comments what you guys think. Another guy that I feel like will not be the #1 pick unless a specific team wants him at that time is Trae Young. Now, along with all these rookies, I didn't really talk about their downfalls, but Trae Young has a little bit of downfalls. He jacks a lot of shots, and he turns the ball over a lot. But that's okay. He's going to improve. He's a very good player, don't get me wrong. But I don't think he will be the #1 pick unless it's someone like New York in a system he could definitely thrive in. They don't really have a point guard, Emmanuel Mudiay. Phoenix could take him as well because he could be paired up with Devin Booker, 2 guys who can shoot, be very good, but turnovers would be a problem. But they could both improve on that. Devin Booker doesn't really have as many turnovers as Trae Young. In the beginning of the season, I was sold on Trae Young, and he's a beast. Like I said, don't get me wrong, but he has some problems that some teams would shy away from. Some scouts have said that they should shy away from him because of those problems. But I feel like he'll be alright in the NBA. It depends what team he goes to. I don't think he will go to Dallas, but New York has definitely shown interest in him. And if New York really wants to get him and ends up with the #1 pick, then we could see Trae Young in New York. And he said he would like to play for New York. Trae Young, he's a sniper. I will say he makes a lot of his shots. He's a high scorer. He likes to pass the ball a lot. He gets some assists and stuff like that. He could take it to the rack. And he draws a lot of comparisons to Steph Curry, which I guess Curry in college, I don't really know. I didn't really watch a lot of college basketball when Curry was in college. But the turnovers are the main thing that people are wanting to shy away from him for. But I feel like he will improve. And if someone gets the opportunity and takes him with the #1 pick, it's not a bad pick. Not at all. I just don't think he will be the #1 pick. But I'm not saying in any way that it's a bad pick. He's a good player. He's definitely dominant like these guys, but is he as dominant as Porter Jr. and Bagley and Ayton? I don't really think so, but it depends what team he goes to. There's some teams that don't need him. There's teams that could trade up for him, to be honest. Like, no one really expected the Sixers to trade out for Fultz, and that happened. So you could see New York get, like, the 4th pick and trade up for him, and Phoenix will trade down and get, I don't know, somebody Ayton or Bagley. I don't know if they'll slip that far, but like I don't really know where he would go. Quite possibly the Cavs if LeBron leaves or however that falls out with the Nets pick. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. He's a good player, definitely, but a lot of scouts are a little bit iffy on him, and I feel like if he's given the opportunity, he will be fine in the NBA. So you can't really go wrong with this pick either. I hope you guys did all enjoy this video. This was just my opinion, so if you don't agree, feel free to leave your opinion in the comments below. I'm probably going to get some people saying like that I'm an idiot, and that's okay, because it's only my opinion. tell me what you guys think, like where certain players will get drafted and stuff like that. Tell me who you think your team's going to draft, and tell me how you think the lottery, will end up playing out. These are just my opinions. No one knows how the lottery is going to play out. No one knows who the number 1 pick is going to be. It all depends how things fall together. And, just tell me in the comments your guys' opinion. That is going to be it for me, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that. Give me your opinions down below. I'm out of here. I will catch you guys all next time. Peace.